Greetings everyone, my name is Cynthia Ritchie and I've come to you today to talk a little bit about a lot of the social media activity that I've noticed as it relates to India and Pakistan, and I'm noticing a lot of people are encouraging war between the two nations for whatever reasons that may be. One of the things that I would say is that, one, in full disclosure, I've traveled Pakistan and India. I've traveled Pakistan far more extensively than I have India, and I am a well-wisher of both countries and both cultures. I've seen the best of humanity in both of those countries and in those cultures. I've also seen some incredibly awful things in both of those countries. Most of my friends from the South Asia region are beautiful, wonderful people, but I have also seen some batshit crazy behavior as well. I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to be politically correct, I'm not a diplomat, so I'm just going to call it the way it is, the way I see it as an American who has traveled that region quite extensively. Most of the people on social media that are espousing or claiming to be proponents of war between India and Pakistan, most of those people were born after 1980. So they haven't really lived with or experienced the aftermath of wars like Americans who had to deal with the Gulf War, the invasion of Iraq, the Afghan War. Years later, Americans are still paying for those wars or those invasions, and let's not forget the poor people of those countries where those invasions took place. So when it comes to war, and I'm certainly not a subject matter expert or a foreign policy expert, but even I know that there has to be checks and balances. There has to be a reasoned, thought out plan of action. What are you going to do if both countries go to war? The extreme poor will still remain poor, but the vast majority, the 60 to 65% of the people in those countries will have to deal with and face the brunt of the aftermath of that war. Who needs that? Who wants that? Then what? What are you going to do? So I would just simply say that in our search, in our quest, it should be a search for truth. It should be reasoning based on a search for truth, not in support of our emotional reactions. And I know very well the South Asian culture can be extraordinarily emotional and will say sometimes the most ludicrous things just simply based on their emotions. So I'll end my rant here. I'll end with a quote. Henry Kissinger once said that no foreign policy, no matter how ingenious, has any chance of success if it's born in the minds of a few and is carried out in the hearts of none. I have sat down with former military and active military professionals in Pakistan. I've sat down with former military professionals in India who are much older than myself, and they all had one thing in common. They were somber and had deep regrets that both sides had to wage battles after battle over the years. You guys are brothers. We all have the same blood flowing through our veins, and far be it from me as an American to try to tell you what to do or think. That's not my intent. I have a care and concern as a global citizen for both of you. And my encouragement is to the diaspora, the Pakistani and the Indian diaspora here in America. Sit down, gather some of your best and your brightest minds, sit down and have a meal together and have conversation, reasoning. The young people of these countries need to see true leadership, and they're not seeing true leadership at any of the levels of the heads of state in this country or either of the other countries. Let's separate people from policy. People can do what governments cannot. And I simply ask that both the youth of Pakistan and the youth of India think about these things. Listen to the wise ones. Listen to the poor ones. Interact with individuals of integrity and character. Let's all talk about this. Throwing things under the rug, putting our heads in the sand, ignoring the problems is not going to work at all. But war isn't either. Let's wage peace. Let's make riots of love.